What is up, guys? Welcome back, and I just kind of want to talk about something that's coming up this weekend, and that is EVO, or Evolution. And if you guys don't know what EVO is, it is a 3-day weekend. I believe has been for a long time now. That is a kind of like a central like Super Bowl or World Series for all fighting games competitively. Just kind of like how there's MLG for a lot of games. Well, kind of. EVO is kind of the biggest fighting game. There's a lot of majors in between, but EVO is the biggest one. It always has the most people, has crazy amount of participants and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's coming up this weekend, starting on Friday. I believe that is July 12th, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm excited. They're going to be streaming it all weekend, and I just kind of want to talk about it. Like, I first started watching EVO, I believe, around 2009, when G4 like decided to cover it a little bit, and that is when I got addicted to it. I started watching. I went. It was like on UStream, I think, still, and I was watching Tekken, and then I started watching some Street Fighter. And Street Fighter 4 was definitely the first game I really got addicted to. This was even before Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was out. And watching the Japanese players versus the American players, and watching all these these characters that I knew about, but I never really like learned, because it was kind of before my time a little bit, and I just never really got into it. But it was really exciting. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hype, and it was such a great show to watch. And just every year they've gotten bigger and better. And I highly recommend you check it out. And I'm gonna go through the games. They have 9 games this year, starting from the lowest participants is Mortal Kombat 9, which came out a couple years ago now, but they still have a good amount of players. They had like around 200, I believe. Next up was Tekken Tag Tournament 2, and then Persona 4 Arena, King of Fighters, I believe 13. I'm not 100% sure. Injustice, Gods Among Us, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the newest version, 2013, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then Street Fighter 4 AE 2012, and then last but not least, Super Smash Bros. Melee. So Melee, or Smash Brothers in general, has always kind of gone in and out with like bigger companies, with like MLG and EVO as well. And they weren't gonna, Melee is an old game. That's 2 generations ago now, technically. It was on the GameCube. It came out on the GameCube, but it's a better version than Brawl, at least competitively. So the community of Smash still plays it, and they still have their own tournaments. They don't have as many. They're not a part of as many big majors either. But this year, the EVO creators, I believe, had like a donation drive to see what would be the 9th game or something like that, and I can't remember how many of them were. Yeah, 9th game, and it was between Melee, Super Turbo, and talk about old games. Super Turbo is like one of the first Street Fighters, and I believe Skullgirls, which is in the stream, will be streamed as well. But Melee, they ended up donating thousands of dollars, and I think they ended up donating almost 200,000. I'm 100% sure overall, like all 3 games, and Melee won. And they showed their passion, they showed their drive to get this onto the biggest stage, and they finally did it. And then this week they started releasing all the schedules, they started releasing the stream schedules and all that kind of stuff. And then recently Nintendo, like I think it was yesterday, July 9th, 2013, Nintendo went to the EVO creators and said, you cannot stream Melee. And the internet went in rage. Whether you liked the Smash community, what they did, they showed a lot of passion to get their game on to EVO, and they just got straight out the night. Like, they spent technically $100,000 or something like that, crazy, and then they're not going to even be streamed. Like, a big part of this is also because they've had their own things, but having a nice big, being called EVO Champ is such a prestigious title. And also you get your game out there again, and maybe people will start watching it. That's how I started watching Street Fighter, was through EVO, and EVO is probably, they get the most viewers then, and it sucked. It was just like, why? This is an old game, And so the question, and so people, start tweeting them saying, Nintendo's out of touch and all that kind of stuff. I even tweeted once, and I was gonna make a video yesterday, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because, well, first, it wasn't too surprising because they had apparently banned Brawl from being streamed on EVO, and also Let's Plays. Most recently, the Let's Plays where a bunch of Let's Players were going to be could have been screwed over, and they wouldn't make any money off their Let's Plays, which, Let's Plays and streaming and all these kind of stuff is free advertisement. In a world where I go to twitch.tv homepage and half of the little featured pages are like video game companies, streaming their own game and getting it out there, and it's like, this is free advertisement. I can't say it's, maybe it does hurt them. I don't know. I doubt it does, but yeah, it's kind of weird that, they decided to do that. They've been doing it apparently, but luckily within that day, either enough people tweeted them, they pulled a Microsoft, and they just said, okay, you can stream it. I mean, to me, it was the most insane was that this is a GameCube game. I would understand if they don't want their Wii U game, getting out there, but it's like Smash, the new Smash is coming up. Like, this is a nice way to get more people interested. Like, and it's like, at worst, you're gonna sell more Smash Melee games. Like, I don't understand why you would take it down. Like, I don't see how it would hurt them, especially for such an old game. So, luckily, they did change it, and it will be streamed. And yeah. So next thing I want to talk about, which is still bothering me personally, but so SRK, or the people who are streaming it, have 3 Twitch channels that they'll be streaming it: twitch.tv/SRK EVO 1, SRK EVO 2, and SRK EVO 3. So there was kind of stream problems when they released their stream, and SRK EVO 2 has, for the first day on Friday, has Mortal Kombat pools. It has Mortal Kombat basically the whole day. And Mortal Kombat, as you guys know, as I told you, has the least amount of participants. I believe Melee was around Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Like, it was like right under Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And Mortal Kombat had the least amount of people. And then Tekken and Persona were above that, but their pools are not even being streamed. Like, their early parts of the bracket, only the top 8, I'm guessing is what final means, are being streamed. And to a lot of people, that's 700 or so people, I believe, for Tekken and Persona, compared to the 200 for Mortal Kombat. And it was just like, everyone was kind of going, why is it like that? Why aren't they streaming it? And the way they said it, and it made sense, but it kind of sucked anyways. It kind of felt like you probably should have, like, I understand that the actual tournament is the most important part, but let's face it, the stream is also a very big part of this now. Like, I can't go to Las Vegas, on a random weekend, but I can watch it. It's like, I don't have the money necessarily for it, but I'll watch it. I'll watch the ads that you'll probably play. I might buy something later on that you guys are streaming and stuff like that. So, it's a big part. Like, the reason, I would say, honestly, one of the biggest reasons they get these big sponsors now is because of streams. If you didn't stream, like, because people at the thing, like, unless you just put giant logos of your sponsors everywhere, it's not, you're not going to get that many, notices as a sponsor. So as a stream, I think that's a big thing. I haven't ran a tournament, so I can't really say that, but so yeah, their explanation was they have 2 halls, like 2 kind of like they said 2 EVO 2012s, which is basically twice the size from last year. And one side had Mortal Kombat and Injustice, the NetherRealm games, and then the other one had Street Fighter, Tekken, Persona, and stuff like that. And their reasoning was that they can't stream the pools of the game that's in the other hall because they have stream stations set up. I don't know where the third one is, but so that was kind of their reasoning, and it makes sense. You gotta lay out, make sure the tournament will run very well, and all that kind of stuff. So in the end, Tekken Tag and Persona 4, actually the community that is behind it got one of their streamers is going to come out there and start streaming the pool. So that'd be very fun, and I believe that is FinestKO, FINESTKO. And this is on Twitch as well. They'll be streaming pools, and pools will be early Friday, so I hope you're awake because their finals are 4 p.m. on Friday, which I don't know. I don't like that finals are on Friday because it's like I don't know, especially how early it is. Like Tekken Tag 2, I don't know if they're getting streamed yet. It seems like one of the prominent Tekken players that I follow on Twitter was kind of more just complaining and not like getting things done like one of the Persona 4 guys. Tekken Tag 2, its finals are being streamed at 2 p.m., which is like in the middle of a work day or a school day. And then Persona 4 is being streamed at 4 p.m. And then Mortal Kombat will be streamed right after that at 6 p.m. on, of course, its own channel, so it's not that bad. But you know, while they explained the whole Mortal Kombat stuff, and I'm sure it's probably because just how it works, but it kind of sucks that Tekken and Persona are streamed during work hours, like on a Friday. Like if this was on a Saturday, okay, but I don't know, it just kind of bugs me. Like, and then after that they'll have Street Fighter 4 quarter and semifinals and stuff like that, and it's just like, to me it was kind of like, why is it so early, you know? If it was at the end of the day, you know, okay, why not? Like, I don't know, like they explained the NetherRealm stuff, and I'm okay with that, sure. But I don't know how why at the very least, why is Mortal Kombat like the lowest final? Like, are pools and semifinal really gonna take as long as Tekken and Persona, who are supposedly in the same spot? So I don't know, I'm so annoyed. I really like Persona 4, I like watching it, it's a really fun game to watch. They have Japanese players coming over, and like, it kind of sucks that they're done within the first day. Like, these Mortal Kombat people, they'll be, you know, they'll probably be back, a lot of them, for Injustice. I mean, Injustice is about twice the size of Mortal Kombat. And yeah, so I don't know how I feel about it yet. I mean, I'm gonna try to watch it, but that's so early I might forget. Like, you know, I wake up pretty early nowadays, but you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, if you forget about it, you may not see it, you know. I don't really like watching streams until later in the day, and I don't know, we'll see what happens there. Hopefully it's a great finals for both Tekken Tag and Persona. I'll put up a link to the schedule, but pools for Street Fighter will be all on Friday, and then Smash will also have some pools there. Like I said, Mortal Kombat's also there. And on Saturday, we'll have King of Fighters, Injustice, and Marvel vs. Capcom pools. We'll also have some Smash Brothers quarterfinals and semifinals, and then yeah, and then the last one, and then another one that's kind of annoying is that Street Fighter Cross Tekken is also not getting streamed except for the final, which again, it kind of sucks. Injustice, you know, a very big game itself, so I'm not too mad. It has its own stream again, but it's pretty good. So you know, and it's a new game, so I can kind of see giving it that much room, but you know, Street Fighter Cross Tekken is like the third or fourth biggest, I can't remember how big, but third or fourth biggest, you know, participant. I mean, granted, I think a lot of those are also Street Fighter 4, which, yeah, whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Cross Tekken, so I'm not gonna cry over it like the other games. But you know, again, I don't know if it was, you know, I don't know what happened there, but it kind of sucks that it was like that. But that's Saturday. I believe they're also getting some people to be streamed, but I don't know if they have it set up yet. You know, the runners of EVO were very cooperative, and you know, it's good for them. I don't think they meant to do that or anything like that, but it does suck that it happened that way. And then last but not least, the final day, Sunday, will be finals. Whatchamacallit? Finals day, I guess. First up, 10 a.m. King of Fighters. Kind of sucks, but it is the smallest out of all the rest of the games. Smash Brothers will be at noon, and then Injustice will be at 2. Then there'll be a random Killer Instinct demonstration at 4. Then 4:30 there'll be Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then finally they will have Street Fighter 4 final as the headliner, because Street Fighter 4 does have the most people. It has 1,600 compared to 1,300 of Marvel, which is crazy to me. That Street Fighter always has a lot of players. There's a lot of stories. The games I'll talk about, I'll go into a little bit more detail, are the ones that I more follow. Like, I don't really follow Mortal Kombat or Injustice. I like watching Injustice and KOF even to an extent, but I don't really follow them. So I just kind of want to give a few of the stories that are coming up. Persona 4 is all about the Japanese players coming over. Persona 4 is an anime game. It's created by Arxis, the Arxis system, with BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. And Japanese players, I believe, are way ahead of the American scene. But American scene got Persona 4 pretty... well, no. Persona 4 Ultimate or whatever from the Japanese version came out much earlier, but you know, this is a new game that I think a lot of players have been combining together, because I think Guilty Gear and BlazBlue were kind of like these games, like it's kind of like you picked one, you maybe played both, but it separated your time. Persona 4 was a game that a lot of people got interested in just purely by the name Persona 4, so it'll be interesting to watch. Persona 4 has a very small cast, so you'll see a lot of repeat characters, but it'll be kind of fun to see. Some of the best players that are coming over, I don't remember their names. One of the ones I'm excited for is Stunedge. He's a Yukiko player, which I really like Yukiko in that game. Kind of fits my style. But yeah, we'll see if Americans can, you know, how many will make top 8, and can they beat the Japanese players? Will no Japanese players make it into top 8? Stuff like that. Next up is, I probably just follow Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and AE the most after that. I know some stories with the other ones, but... oh, and Melee. Actually, I'll talk about Melee first. So I haven't watched too much Melee. I've seen some of it, but not too many. Melee is a fun game to watch. Like, that's the one fighting game where I kind of go, I don't know what they're doing. Like, how are they doing that kind of jump? How are they doing that kind of move? How are they hitting them that far with that move, you know? And Melee is just amazing to me. With Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter, these games, they can do some amazing things, but I understand how it's happening. Like, I can do that if I just practice enough. With Melee, I would need someone to teach me how to do that. Like, other games, I could just, you know, kind of figure it out. So, yeah, so Melee will be kind of fun to watch. I'm rooting for Mango. He was the Jigglypuff player that I saw, and I'm a big Jigglypuff player, as you'll probably see in this video. I'll probably put up some gameplay of random fighting games that I played. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 will be Chris G versus the field. There'll be I believe there's some Japanese players coming over, and Nemo or whatever. Very strong Japanese player that hasn't come over, I believe, and Kusuro, oh, whatever his name is. He took final round a couple years ago. So the question is Marvel vs. Capcom still an American game? How many Japanese players will make top 8? I believe only one foreigner, I think he was Mexican, made top 8 last year. And so it'll be kind of interesting. See if Chris G... it's basically Chris G versus a field. Morgan Doom is a very strong shell. It definitely takes some more thinking than people think, but I do think it's also a very strong shell still. You throw a fireball out there and you can dash right behind it. That's pretty... and it's a fireball that has a lot of hit stun. You can't just throw an EX version and it'll eat it up, So yeah, that's basically it. Will Chris G win it? He's one of those guys that, I personally, I honestly don't like Chris G that much, because he's like a villain that doesn't want to be a villain but still acts like a villain, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of weird with him. These competitive games need villains, and he's a villain. Let's face it, the winners are always villains because everyone wants to beat them. No one likes seeing them win, and stuff like that. So it'll be kind of interesting. Also, Chris G is very strong in Street Fighter and Injustice, and I don't know if he entered Mortal Kombat or anything like that, but he's very strong in those games too, and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. So he's probably the potential to win the most, but we'll see. His biggest weakness before was definitely his own self. He would always get self-defeated. He's gonna have a lot of games. He's gonna be up early, I'm sure, and it's gonna be a lot of stamina. That's a lot of games to enter, and we'll see if he can win multiple games. And then last but not least, Street Fighter 4 AE 2012. That's basically just the world versus America, just the world versus each other, really. Last year apparently they had 6 countries being represented, and that's a crazy amount. That's just insane, and it'll be a fun game to watch. And yeah, that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please check him out. I'll leave links in the description. Sorry if I'm like blabbering out. Hopefully it's okay. I'll leave the Twitch links in the bottom. I'll leave a link to the schedule and all that kind of stuff. And I hope you guys watch it. You know, it's a really fun tournament to watch. It's a lot of hype. Fighting games can get kind of gritty because they're kind of, you know, I don't know, they're kind of like that. But EVO is very, you know, it's very like professional, and they have a lot of good commentators and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you guys watch it and enjoy it. Alright, see you guys later. Adios.